This reading is from censored number 27, Meese Porn Commission Biased. North Carolina, in September of 1985, a video fan got an unexpected visit from the FBI. The agents told him they knew he had rented a certain X-rated video cassette and they wanted him to hand it over. These overzealous agents knew he had the cassette because they just raided his local video store. And along with seizing allegedly obscene tapes, they checked the store's list of customers currently renting X-rated cassettes, and his name was on the list. In May of 1985, President Reagan's Attorney General Edwin Meese set up a commission to study the effects of pornography. At the time, Meese said the formation of the commission was related to the achievement of the good life and the good society. In my opinion, two items an unconvicted white-collar crook like Edwin Meese knows all about. Every conservative in the country wanted to be on the commission. They saw it as their chance to get porn. Henry Hudson, chief prosecutor of Arlington County, Virginia, a staunch opponent of porn, was appointed chairman. A federal prosecutor from Kentucky, Alan Sears, became the commission's executive director. In 1983, Alan Sears prosecuted the Sovereign News Company for obscenity, and yet Sears had the nerve to say, "I'm coming at this with a very open mind. I do not believe the commission is coming in with a bias." Also included on the 12-member panel was James Dobson, who hosts a radio program called Focus on the Family. Former Assistant Attorney General Tex Lazar, who structured the panel, is also a commissioner. From the beginning, it was clear that the commission was on a witch hunt and would bring in a negative verdict. They wanted new ways to control porn. Before its results were in, the commission okayed major changes in obscenity laws. When one commissioner asked Executive Director Alan Sears about this unorthodox behavior, Sears said, "If the commission doesn't find any harms, we'll throw the whole thing out." This neurotically inept commission has sought testimony only of police, prosecutors, and so-called victims of porn. No authors, booksellers, actors, or those in favor of porn were invited to testify. The so-called victims of porn testified anonymously from behind a screen and were not cross-examined. Their evidence was skewed, superficial, and some of it was untrue. One so-called victim of porn was Linda Lovelace, who starred in the porn film Deep Throat. Linda Lovelace claimed that while she worked in the porn industry, she did nothing of her free will. She said she'd been beaten, coerced, and forced to perform at gunpoint. It is hard to believe a woman who, in her book Ordeal, comes off as a pathological liar. She once claimed that she never made an 8mm film with a dog. She claimed it was a puppet. In her book, she admits that it was a real dog, but she was forced to perform. She once told the publisher of Penthouse on the Barry Farber television show that she had been offered several $1 million to star in a porn film. She was told that no porn actress gets anywhere near that kind of money. In a recent newspaper article, Ms. Lovelace claimed that she and her husband had been offered millions of dollars to make love on screen. This is nonsense. Yet it was this kind of untrue evidence that some of the commissioners believed or used to strengthen their prejudices. Ms. Lovelace also claimed that many women lost their lives while starring in porn films. There exists no evidence that any woman was ever murdered in a porn film. The evidence shows clearly that Linda Lovelace is a liar. The Meese Commission on Porn is merely a pseudo-scientific investigative body convened as a justification for repression. It is another social example of the political conservatives' inability to guide living reality. And what of Edwin Meese? It must be remembered, though Mr. Meese avoided conviction for influence peddling and other white-collar crimes, it is clear that he has less than pristine ethics. As Governor Reagan's liaison to law enforcement in California, Meese recruited criminals to infiltrate and provoke civil rights and anti-war groups. Remember, these people were exercising their constitutional rights, yet Meese was treating them like criminals. As special aide to Reagan in charge of police intelligence on political activities in California, Meese took part in the planning of arrest procedures later found to be unconstitutional, including the holding of traffic and parking warrants on targeted individuals for use before major demonstrations to neutralize the subjects. All this from a man who assures us he knows what the Founding Fathers meant when they wrote the Constitution. It was also a Meese plan that gave police cameras to identifying participants in demonstrations for future targeting and harassment. Edwin Meese knows nothing about our Constitution or the First Amendment. Mr. Meese is a classical example of a petty despot. He is a pest on the social scene. His Porn Commission reflects these qualities, and this is why the Porn Commission is dangerous. It is dangerous because it indulges in opinionated ignorance. Its report, sent to the printer in May of this year, does not recognize the fact that there is no causal connection between porn and violence. Some of the researchers who worked on the report said the Commission drew conclusions that could not be supported by the research. Some commissioners also disagreed with the conclusions in the report and issued dissenting statements. The Commission has no credibility because it is clear that it was a setup. Its conclusions were foregone. Some commissioners were not even allowed to see gallery-proof copies of the report and weren't aware of last-minute changes made by the staff. The rigid political conservatives on the Commission can't face the fact that porn has positive social effects. It is also therapeutic. The more porn, the fewer sex crimes. Look at Denmark and Sweden and Great Britain and West Germany. There's no relationship between porn and crime. But there is a relationship between crime and alcohol. There is a connection between crime and poverty. And there is a correlation between the reading of Field and Stream, Guns and Ammo, and violence. Rape porn is the most popular form of porn in Japan, yet Japan's rape rate is 1/16 that of the United States. Since the sex in is a sin ploy won't work anymore, the new censors say that porn causes violence. In doing this, these new censors are misusing the work of social scientists and psychologists. Political conservatives, Women Against Pornography, and the Free Congress Foundation have misused the work of Professor Edward Donnerstein of the University of Wisconsin when they claim that sexually explicit films, that is, X-rated, incite violence in the viewers. Donnerstein says only the violent, R-rated slasher films cause these effects. And they're not sexually explicit at all. The Meese Commission heard testimony that porn is an $8 billion a year industry, controlled by organized crime. This is not true. However, it was not mentioned that organized crime is involved in pizza parlors, restaurants, laundromats, unions, and garbage haulers. No new research was commissioned by Meese's porn panel. Yet the United States Justice Department gave the Judith Reisman $734,371 to study whether Playboy, Penthouse, and Hustler play a role in juvenile delinquency or the sexual exploitation of children. Reisman has no background in sex research. Her main qualification that endears her to political conservatives is that she once wrote a song for the Captain Kangaroo television show. Real research shows that the alleged dangers of porn are non-existent and have never been demonstrated. The mental bias against sexuality of Edwin Meese is clearly seen in the fact that Meese, as Attorney General, withheld funds from a women's group that cared for battered women when an ultra-right-wing group informed Meese that the women's group was anti-family. It turned out they weren't, and they got the funding. The majority of commissioners did not understand the relationship between masturbation with guilt and healthy masturbation. One victim of porn testified that at a young age, he latched onto a deck of sexy playing cards, and they ruined his life. He said he masturbated with guilt. Not one commissioner made clear the fact that the playing cards didn't ruin his life. His life was ruined because he masturbated with guilt. Wilhelm Reich showed decades ago that healthy release of sexual tension prevents neuroses. Henry Hudson claimed he couldn't find a beneficiary of porn. It is clear Mr. Hudson didn't look too hard. Cops from Kentucky showed the commission supposedly pornographic videos. When one commissioner asked what was pornographic about the film, the cops were confused. They said, "Can't you see it? Sex should be private and between married people." It was small minds like these who once censored Moon for the Misbegotten, Mrs. Warren's Profession, Strange Interlude, The Feminine Mystique, Eros, Romeo and Juliet, and Alice in Wonderland. The Meese Commission does not understand our Constitution, sex, and American culture for the last 25 years. A conservative law professor said that pornography has no First Amendment protection because it's like visiting a prostitute or using a dildo. The majority of commissioners shared this man's neurotic attitude. Most conservative personalities regard a sexual crime as a greater crime than murder. Some commissioners' minds are so sexually warped that they regard Splash, Passage to India, and On Golden Pond as obscene movies. Most of the commissioners couldn't be trusted with shopping lists, let alone the power to recommend moral laws for our country. The ACLU accurately stated that the Commission was trying to return us to the sexual dark ages, where people are afraid to produce any sexually oriented material. Meese's Commission wants Congress to amend the federal obscenity laws to eliminate the necessity of proving sexually oriented material, such as magazines actually crossed state lines. In typical political conservative fashion, these people do not want to be burdened by the facts, nor have any accountability. They want to deal only with their opinions and unfounded beliefs. Ellen Levine, a dissenting member of the Porn Commission, tells it like it is. The Attorney General's Commission on Pornography failed to collect enough evidence to support its major finding that there is a link between pornography and sex crimes. The panel and staff should have spent more time gathering the basic cinder blocks of information upon which you build to a conclusion. Levine, editor-in-chief of Woman's Day magazine, said, Dr. Judith Becker, a psychology professor at Columbia University, another dissenting commissioner, said, the social science research has not been designed to evaluate the relationship between exposure to pornography and the commission of sexual crimes. She also stated that efforts to tease the current data into proof of a causal link between these acts simply cannot be accepted. Levine and Becker feel that the Commission failed to collect enough information to support some of the central law enforcement recommendations it is making to Attorney General Edwin Meese. They are unwilling to endorse 9 of the Commission's overbroad recommendations. Even though these two seem on the right track, they too have a problem with obscenity depicting sexual violence. They say pornography judged obscene and depicting sexual violence warrants intensified prosecution because the violence and the eroticization of that violence may indeed be a potentially explosive mix. They have not acquired the knowledge of love and life that would enable them to understand that violence and genitality are mutually exclusive. In Maricopa County, Arizona, an ignorant county attorney has charged several video stores with selling obscene tapes, although none of the store owners has been convicted. Sam Curran, North Carolina's porn-fighting United States attorney, says he will go after R and PG-rated movies too. Utah's statewide cable TV statute attempts to outlaw indecent cable programs. United States Senate Bill S-1090, introduced by the tobacco industry's friend Jesse Helms and his politically conservative cronies, Senators Denton and East, seeks a blanket ban on obscenity and indecency on cable, broadcast television, radio, and the telephone. Because of such religio-despotic tactics as outlined above, video stores that have cleared their shelves of X-rated tapes have seen business drop off by 40 to 50%. A clerk in a convenience store in North Carolina was arrested for giving an undercover officer a copy of Hustler. Professor Thomas Tedford of the University of North Carolina has stopped teaching his course on the First Amendment because he uses erotic prints from India and China and covers of Danish sex magazines. The bizarre North Carolina law doesn't tolerate depictions of people clad in undergarments or in revealing or bizarre costumes. A search of history shows that censorship causes stunted intellectual and emotional growth. It engenders hate and vanity. The cancer establishment in this country is bankrupt and unable to find a cure for cancer because it censors free inquiry into the nature of the cancer problem and its treatment. The police departments of our country must have a lot of free time on their hands, or they have finally realized that they are inept when it comes to catching murderers, rapists, thieves. Because now they want to spend all their time chasing those who look at dirty pictures and those who aren't wearing their seatbelts. One should not lose sight of the fact that we hear no calls for censorship by those who want to view porn. It is only those who wish to make laws for those who want to view porn that are interested in censorship. Those on the outside want to make laws for those on the inside. We could see the stupidity of such behavior if we apply it to a more neutral subject. Suppose the Catholic Church wanted to make censorship laws to apply to Presbyterians, Baptists, or Quakers. It just wouldn't happen. Meese's Porn Commission went in with no credibility, and it came out with no credibility. The Commission findings did not take into account the fact that for normal human beings, periodic release of sexual tension is a necessity for good mental and physical health. Those of us without sexual partners must rely on masturbation to provide us with sexual release of tension. In this regard, pornography is indispensable. Political conservatives are too rigid to be able to deal with this problem. The Meese Commission forgets that the ultimate obscenity is ridding us of our freedom of choice. The main object of the Meese Commission is to weaken further our First Amendment. Political conservatives would love to see the First Amendment smashed. All that came out of the Porn Commission was politically conservative propaganda. Dr. Richard Green, an expert on sex and crime, says porn does not act as a stimulant to sex crimes. Porn provides a healthy outlet. Dina Tilton Durfee, president of the California Consortium of Child Abuse Councils and a commissioner of the porn panel, said she believed the report was compiled too hastily. The commission deliberately failed to take heed of the fact that research shows that the average sex offender has little exposure to porn. When they have been exposed to it, it is at a later age than the general population. As one sex offender told me, we don't read about it, we do it. What the commission has done is to make judges wary of handing down right verdicts. State and federal judges will now permit their personal religious beliefs, rather than any passionate commitment to the First Amendment, to decide the issue. Even during the early days of our country, political conservatives have tried to stack the courts in their favor. They don't give a damn about right or wrong. Their interest is in having their way. Their interest is in power. To all free-thinking persons, this should be the last straw. This porn commission should be totally discredited, and this issue of porn and violence should be put to rest once and for all. The religious nuts who continue to try to force others to see things their way should be exposed for the empty frauds that they are and put in their place. The time is now. Political conservatives are too influential and too powerful. They must be stopped. I think it is time to set up a First Amendment protection squad consisting of militia members in all states. Since political conservatives only understand force, the squad would arrest those who hamper our First Amendment protections. It seems the only way, because these religious nuts never give up. They are moral masochists who come back again and again. It is time that they be beaten back once and for all. No more Meese commissions to falsify the facts through political power. The end.
Hi, this is William Morrow. Are you one of those people who join a health club, and after they have your big, overpriced annual membership, you notice that you're on your own with little or no results even after all the promises? Then the website Personal Trainer is for you.
Thank you very much, William H. Morrow III.
So you lost another argument with a conservative, right-wing Republican. He talked over you. He screamed and yelled. He brought out the Bible. He thumped it. He quoted scripture to you. You were lost because you came at him with facts. Nothing but facts. And you expected that would make you look good. That would make you win the argument, but it didn't. You know why you lost the argument? You know why you're going to lose your next argument? Because you don't read Censored. Censored, the 30-year-old newsletter that shows you how to defeat a conservative. Read Censored, and you'll have all the ammunition you need. Every time you get into an argument with a right-wing conservative, so-called Christian. Censored, that's all you need. Read it, and defeat a conservative.
Greetings, listeners. Let me speak to you for a moment about the foundation of our entire organization, Newsletters Censored. It was founded by our mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, in 1977. It discusses the 5 taboos of American life: politics, religion, health, human sexuality, and child rearing. You won't find anything like this in the mainstream media and the press. It reveals the kind of truth that most people are afraid to hear. Can you handle it? We are living in the end times, so in order to defeat a conservative and save America, you need Newsletters Censored. Go to www.newslettercensored.com, click on the printable order form page, and with your gift to support this work, get your free annual subscription. This is James P. Madonna of Megalife 21, the hardest hitting internet talk radio station on the planet.